Okay, so let's continue working with Adobe Photoshop. Here inside the toolbar, if you come down, you will notice that there are two colors, one black on the top and white on the background. And this is the foreground color and this is the background color. Now on the top of this foreground color there are two icons, one that shows the same image of these two. It is used to reset the foreground and background to black and white. If you click on this, it will set them to the default values, which is white and black. If I click on the black, it pops up the color selection dialog box, and you can choose any color. For example, if I choose green, now the foreground color is green. If I hit this small little arrow, it's gonna put the foreground to background and bring up the background to the foreground. If I click on this, you can see that now the green is in the background and white is on the top. Click that again and it swaps the colors. Now if you want to reset these colors to black and white again, just click on this small little icon. Alright, now let's create a new page. I'm not gonna name it again, just gonna hit OK. Okay, this is our page. Now in this page, over here, click and hold your left mouse button, select the first option, make a selection on the screen, and then hit Alt and backspace. This is key to fill your selection with the foreground color. Alt and backspace. Now I'm just going to unlock the layer, double click on the layer, hit OK, and I'm gonna delete the layer. Actually, let's create a new page with the transparent background so you can see the effects. I'm gonna create a new layer, new page with the transparent background, and hit OK. Now I'm gonna make a selection using the rectangular mark tool. I'm gonna hit Alt and backspace. Now I'm going to make another selection right here, and I'm gonna hit Control backspace. Now you can see, to fill your selection with the foreground color you have to use Alt backspace, but if you want to fill your selection with the background color you gotta use Control and backspace. So this is how you fill your selections with these colors. Now if you choose another color, obviously you can fill your selection with the same color. Make a selection, hit Alt and backspace. Now if you want to change the background color, click on it and change the background color. Make a selection, use Control backspace. If you want to swap, use this. Alright, that was the basic of colors and the selection tools. Now we're going to talk a little bit in detail in the selection this mark tools. I'm going to close it, start a new page. Okay, actually we're gonna start the new page with the white background. Hit OK. Okay, now use the selection mode and make a selection here. Now as you know, if I hit the Alt background, it's gonna fill the selection with the orange color or the red one. But in this case, it's gonna put the selection or print the color on this background page, this layer, this background layer. Because we are in the background layer, that is the reason if I make a selection and put color into this selection, it's gonna print on this layer, which is not a good idea sometimes. If I hit Alt backspace, now if I want to move this selection, you can always use the to deselect the selection, just click anywhere else on the screen, on the page, or you can also right click and choose deselect. Okay, now if you want to move this orange box as we did before in the previous lecture, you will not be able to move it. It is because you have printed this box on the page. There is only one page inside our layer box. That means we do not have any other page, so this orange box and the white background both are actually just one page. Now if we want to make this white this orange box in a new page, which we should actually, how are we going to do this? To undo what we have just done, use Control Alt and Z key on your keyboard, hit again and again. Okay, now we are going to use another key to make a new layer, new empty layer. Use Control Shift plus N on your keyboard and this dialog box appears to make a new layer. Here let's name it box, and I'm going to change the color of the layer, which means it will be different inside this stack. Hit OK. Now this is the orange color which we selected, and this is the box, and it is empty, there's nothing in it. Let's make another selection. Now use Alt and backspace and deselect. Now if you choose select and move or V key on your keyboard for this tool, select and move, now we will be able to move it. Now if you notice in here, white background, this is the page below, this is the page up, and this layer contains the orange box, but if when we move it, you can notice the change in the layer. It is moving the object, but it is not affecting the background. Background is in another layer. Now let's create another layer. Control Shift N, box 2. Let's change the color if you want and hit OK. Now we have another layer. Let's create another box. Use Control backspace for the background color and right click, deselect. Okay, now hit V key on your keyboard or this first tool and move it around. To select this layer, you can either choose the layer stack and click on the box and move it, or you can also choose it another way. You can right click and choose the box and move it. Okay, so the next thing that we are going to do, we are going to make changes inside our selections. Let's do it. Make some selection on your screen, and I'm in the orange box, box 0 or box empty box. In this box I'm gonna hit Alt and backspace, and I'm gonna deselect. Hit M key on your keyboard and click anywhere on the screen to deselect the selection. Now if I move the box, this box, the other box is gonna move along it. This is because we created this box inside this layer. So suppose if I'm going to make another box, I'm gonna select box 2, right click, and box 2, which is the blue box. If I make an adjustment or editing or add something in this layer, it's gonna stay with this blue box or on the same page that the blue box has. Let's selection, make the selection, make a box, and use Alt and backspace. So if I now move the box 2, which is the blue box actually, if I move it, the other box moves along it. It is because we created this box in the same page, in the same layer. So that is how the layers work. Alright, so and I'm gonna stop the tutorial and continue in the next tutorial. Stay with us.